So how's your video coming along, buddy?
Going great, man.
You
I'm a
playing
great
some
YouTuber.
you playing Fallout New Vegas?
Yeah.
You
Oh.
mind if I you mind if I steal that?
No.
Everybody loves Fallout New Vegas, and those who don't probably haven't played it, or just have a different taste in games. I mean, that works too. In case you need a reminder, the major points in the game consist of waking up with a handsome doctor, making friends, or enemies, around the Mojave Desert in the hopes of finding the men who mostly killed you. And then after that, you choose your side of a big old battle for the Mojave, and yeah, that's pretty much the game. But let's take it a step back. A step back to that handsome doctor. He lives in Good Springs, which is like one of the only places in the game where pretty much everyone there is a stand-up person, at least for apocalypse standards. But what if he wasn't? I mean, technically he still is. His evil counterpart is just me in a foolproof disguise. Yeah, that's the premise of the video. Also, side note before the video starts, this is not a challenge video. I used cheats, mods, and hacks throughout the entire video because I didn't want to have to edit 15 hours of footage. The most I'd go is 4 hours, 38 minutes, and 14 seconds, which, boy, is that convenient for this video. But yeah, this video is not very high risk, so if that's disappointing, sorry, I guess, I don't know. We start our journey being awoken by Doc Mitchell, blinded by his godly aura, which is to be expected as this is how the game starts. If you expected something different, then, sorry to disappoint. And right on cue, he asks me for my name, which is something I really needed to consider. Of course, I needed a name that truly fit my vibe, so naturally we couldn't go with Courier as that's boring and basic. My next idea was Doc Evil, but I thought that would make it too obvious that I'm evil and I don't want anyone to catch on to that. No, we needed something far more subtle. Something only the maddest of paths could decipher. Something like... After that, it was time to cook up our disguise. And boy, did we cook. It's hardly distinguishable from the real Doc. And then we had to get our special stats chosen. But why make the choice when I can just have it all?
Wait,
yeah.
do you have everything? You can have max everything?
Yeah.
Or most of it at least. I did have to make some sacrifices, so I just made the most doctor-like build that I could. I took a seat on his couch and he tried to ask me questions, but a doctor never reveals his secrets, or whatever the saying is, so I skipped right through it. I then claimed my very own Pip-Boy and achieved myself crazy levels before leaving to explore the wasteland, but not before turning right back around and finishing claiming his identity as my own. After robbing his house of all of his belongings, I was truly starting to feel like Doc Mitchell. I went over to the Good Spring Saloon and they pretended not to recognize me as Doc Mitchell, and I didn't appreciate them dismissing my new identity, so after running in circles for a moment, I slaughtered the town. I then went to speak to Ringo per Joe Cobb's request and we played Caravan, and I lost pretty hard. But it's okay, I kept my cool and just let it be, seeing as it's just a game, and it's okay not to understand how to gamble in a video game. I met up with the Powder Gangers after taking care of Ringo and approached Joe Cobb to discuss future business opportunities before realizing I hate these guys, after which I would kill them all and venture into the wasteland in attempts to find the man who almost killed me. But of course, I didn't get far before realizing I'd rather just use a fast travel mod because walking is boring. I then massacred a family of ants and got lost trying to fast travel to Prim, and then when I finally got there, I died to nothing.
I don't know how that just happened.
After finally making it to Prim, this fan approached me for an autograph, but I didn't like his tone, so after changing my graphics settings a bit, I killed him and his friends. I quickly ran over to the casino and attempted to massacre the entire place, but I would soon realize I'm not quite as invincible as I thought. But then, just on the brink of death, I channeled Doc Mitchell's power, as well as some cheated healing items, and powered through it. I then realized I only had one enemy left, Prim Slim, who I decided to spare, because it's what Doc Mitchell would do. I then went into the hotel, where I would attempt a more stealthy approach. That didn't last long. I then spent way too long searching for Deputy Beagle before giving up and leaving, getting halfway to Vegas before realizing I actually did need Deputy Beagle, so I turned around and finally found him. After listening to Deputy Beagle's journal, I decided to head for Novak. On the way there, a powder ganger dropped by to bring me a present.
Well, at least I got some pork chops out of it.
Hope you like dynamite.
Whoa, what's this present?
I
I hope it's not dynamite.
We exchanged gifts with each other, and then it was time for me to be on my way. But then I found more generous powder gangers bringing me even more gifts. What is this, Christmas? On the way to Novak, I had to cut through Nipton, where I met this man who won the lottery apparently. Now, a big ego isn't good for anybody, so naturally, I had to humble him a little. And then I met these guys, which at this point in the run, I was planning on siding with the Legion, which is why I spared them here. Thinking I would side with them later on, I kind of glazed their cause a little bit before getting on my merry way. And on my merry way I did get.
Happen to be evil, would you?
No.
Oh, okay, good.
They don't call me Dr. Mitch Good for nothing.
And then I made it to Novak, where I would murder an innocent old innkeeper and steal the key to her safe, and then leave, killing more innocent locals before realizing I should actually open the safe. There, I find some important paperwork proving that the innkeeper is not really innocent at all, which would make me feel less bad about killing her, but I didn't feel bad in the first place. I then romance this handsome lad who tells me to make my way to Boulder City, and of course, I oblige. On the way to Boulder City, I kill a skank who was looking at me in a slutty way when I've got a boyfriend waiting for me back in Novak. I also killed their dogs, which I felt really bad about because I thought they were going to attack me, but they didn't. Outside Boulder City, I killed this NCR fella before rushing inside to kill everyone else, knowing that despite only having a knife, the power of Doc Mitchell would keep me never mind. I finally made it to Freeside, where I get my first non-cheated weapon upgrade from this random bum. As I kept making my way to the New Vegas Strip, I noticed this kid chasing this poor animal, and I just couldn't allow that. So I showed him how it feels to be chased by someone bigger than you. I then went and killed a random female bystander because I was embarrassed to be seen playing innocently among the children. As I inched closer to the strip, I found even more victims in the King's Club, who I wiped out effortlessly. Outside the strip, this guy came up and told me to tread lightly, but the only treads I know are the ones on tanks, so I followed his advice to the best of my abilities. I then got the Vegas gate key and entered the strip, where I killed the Securitrons to my friend's dismay.
SpongeBob, no!
Then I went to the Tops Hotel.
Hey, fella, welcome to the top.
There I found the Ben Meister himself, and seduced him with my doctorly charm. I didn't want to cheat on Manny, but you gotta do what you gotta do to survive in the wasteland. Then I had to go eat dinner, so I went and stood in front of these people playing blackjack. After making my incredible return, I headed up to floor 13, where mistakes were made. I swear, it didn't mean anything to me. He wasn't even that good. It seems my feelings got the better of me as I decide not to kill Benny in his sleep. Though it seems Benny doesn't feel the same way, as he was long gone by the time I woke up the next morning. I introduced myself to Yes Man and discussed some important business before heading out to pay Benny a visit over at Kaiser's Fort. On the way out of Freeside, I found this ghoul who was begging for money, so I donated as much bottle caps as I could before he wouldn't take any, so I left. Before turning back around to get my money back as I was unsatisfied with the transaction. But on the way back inside, this guy tried to rob me before realizing I was the humble Doc Mitchell from Goodsprings, so he spared some generosity and left me alone.
Yeah.
Then my friend tricked me into killing myself of dehydration. After realizing how thirsty I was, I went into this random house and started drinking out of a sink and toilet. Soon I would finally arrive at the fort, where I would kill a slave in hopes of getting a VIP pass from the Legion. But I guess they needed the labor because they all turned on me instantly. After reloading my save, I needed to fast travel back to the Legion, but on the way there I got interrupted by a Deathclaw, who upon realizing who he was dealing with, ran away like a coward. Some folks from Kaiser's Legion decided to chase after it, but they were quickly dealt with. There was only one man who could face a Deathclaw head on, and that man, well, he's me. So I marched up to that Deathclaw and showed him who's boss. It was him. He's the boss. After reloading my save and attempting another fast travel, the Deathclaw decided that tearing me apart alone wasn't fun enough, so he brought a friend. When I finally made it back to the Legion, I decided to save so that whenever Freak Mode gets activated, I will be safe and sound. I finally met up with Kaisar at the fort, and he gave me the platinum chip and told me to destroy Mr. House's bunker. He also told me I could decide what to do with Benny, so I killed him, before realizing I wasn't supposed to do that yet, and everyone decided they wanted to kill me. So I reloaded my save and introduced myself to Kaisar once again, and then went to Mr. House's bunker. On the way there, I stopped by some training dummies and started training hard to impress the cute legionnaire who was training beside me. I would then enter the building where Mr. House would show himself for the first time. This was the turning point where I decided I did not want to work for Kaisar, and decided to help Mr. House instead. For now. I upgraded the Securitrons for Mr. House and then made my way back to Kaisar to tell him I blew it up. He rewarded my dishonesty by letting me have my way with Benny. But on my way out, I decided if I'm gonna rule the wasteland, I can't be wearing the simple farmer's getup, so I stole Benny's suit off his body and put it right onto mine. But then I realized, if I'm going to rule the wasteland, I better squash these bugs while I've got the chance. Never mind. On the way back to Mr. House, I stop at Mick and Ralph's in Freeside so I can drink from their sink, which honestly sounds very refreshing. I then make it back to Mr. House and he shows me all his favorite toys before telling me to go talk to the fucking boomers. On the way out of the mouse house, some lousy bum comes up to me and asks me to donate for a good cause. I tell her to piss off because last time I donated money, I didn't get it back and that really hurt my feelings. I made it to Nellis after like 10 fucking minutes and started helping out the boomers before realizing I actually don't have to do this. I mean, why work for Mr. House when I can control the Mojave myself? Upon this realization, I abandon Nellis and head to make contact with the Great Khans. Here I just kind of ran around a bit until I was allowed to say they're chill, and then I started to move to the next place where I hoped to do the same thing, but unfortunately, I knew I couldn't. As upon meeting the Brotherhood of Steel, you're forced into an explosive collar, forcing you to complete this mission to move on. This is my least favorite fucking mission. I looked at every single fucking vault multiple times, and I could not find the NCR Ranger. I finally went into one at the end, and he kind of just appeared in the doorway where I was, and then I was able to complete it. But before that, it was such a pain just running around in this stupid bullshit sand terrain. Alright, but yeah, I got it done. We're good. I got my shit back and went and looked around the other places that I needed to, but pretty much nothing happened, so moving on. I told Yes Man that all the tribes were fine and we can ignore them, and I realized that it was now time to get Mr. House out of the picture. I figured that for someone as big as Mr. House in this wasteland economy, I'd need to be stealthy, as not to alert any of the Securitrons. So I sneakily made my way to his chamber, making sure not to alarm anyone. And there we were, staring at the man himself. At first, I decided to let him live, but after he pleaded for his death, I decided to end his life in the same way we started this video, with a straight razor. I go do some more shit for Yes Man and then finally prepare myself for war. The battle was brutal. The lives that were lost that day at the dam were truly worthless, and I have zero remorse for killing all those people who hopefully did not have families. I told these guards to scram, and they knew of my reputation, so they booked it out of fear. I then spoke to Yes Man and told him we're gonna blow the dam to smithereens, which we did. I then booked it to the Legate camp, and I was truly running on fumes as I was starving, dehydrated, and exhausted. I died like 4 times probably, but none of them were special, so let's get to the end. Oh, thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, consider leaving a like and subscribing. Also, if you like this, go check out my friend PaperGob's channel. He does Fallout challenge runs, but like with an actual challenge. They're very entertaining. But yeah, bye.